Hi everyone, welcome to Markz900, I'm Mark, and today I come to you from the glorious Cheltenham, twinned with Sochi in Russia and Weihai in China amongst others. It's a town famous for its racecourse, where every year tens of thousands of people descend onto the town, drink an ocean of Guinness and lose their shirts on the Gold Cup. We also have the pump rooms where you can sample the world famous spa water, that's if it's working, and I have to say it's possibly one of the most disgusting things I've ever tasted. Now, Cheltenham is also the birthplace of Gustav Holst, a music composer born in 1874 right here on Clarence Road. He wrote the Planet Suite, and right now you can hear some music from Uranus. Oh, Uranus, the butt of so many jokes. Anyway, he now stands in immortality over the Cheltenham Beer Garden and is the subject of many drunken photos, and now one with a bloke on a motorbike. I imagine he'd be absolutely delighted with that. Another thing Cheltenham is famous for is GCHQ, the top secret spy base that no one knows is here, except obviously for the signs on the road. It was the subject of a Banksy piece of artwork called Spy Booth, which was sadly defaced with paint and then taken down back in 2014. But this does bring me nicely on to talk about one thing you might not know about Cheltenham, which is that it has been used as a canvas for a paint festival over the past few years, thanks to a chap called Andy Dice Davis. So let's get away from GCHQ before they use me as target practice and have a look at some of the street art. For me, this first piece of work between Gloucester Road and the A40 illustrates the rich diversity and inclusiveness celebrated by the town and... oh, hang on, what's this over here? Oh, it's a Triumph garage. Now, that's going to have some artwork, so let's go and have a look at that first. Well, unsurprisingly, you can see that there's a lot of Speed Triple RRs in the window. There are loads in showrooms, but not so many on the road, unless you happen to be an MCN reporter who's been given one to try and boost sales. Well, fortunately for Triumph, just around the corner in their used section is a Z900 RS, and there's also an H2 just along from it. It makes me think that they will at least make a couple of sales this week, but also that someone must have traded in their Kawasaki for a Triumph. Whatever next? Well, only kidding, Triumph fans. I love them really, it's just that I don't have one. Anyway, back to the street art. This enormous piece of artwork is by Snick from the 2020 Paint Festival, and it stares at you by the Tesco traffic lights on Townsend Street, and when you get close you realise that it's just a series of diagonal lines that make up the picture. It's genuinely wonderful to look at whilst you're stuck in the traffic. But moving off around town, and we go past a giant floral turkey on the wall of a Holiday Inn. I myself am more of an art turkey than a culture vulture, but even I can appreciate just how fantastic this artwork is. Anyway, a bit further down the road and you come across this giant Siamese cat by Samet from 2019. I have one of these cats at home called Milo, but thankfully he's not this big. So let's just keep going and we'll get a little bit further down the road to this 1970s multi-storey carbuncle that smells of piss and is opposite Williams Cycles, second only to the great and wonderful Eastgate Cycles on Eastgate Street in the heart of Gloucester. Anyway, around the back of Williams is a whole set of artwork, and home to my favourite on the left here, which is a brilliant motorcycle scene from SP076 next to a cat by Roo. Then a whole load of other work, including a dinosaur done in tiles by China Girl, and we'll see more from her later on. So let's just work our way around the corner of this building, and then you'll be able to see that there are these huge, fabulous murals, including the one on the left called Izzy, and is actually Andy Dice Davis's daughter. All of this makes parking up a real treat, especially when you consider the alternative across the road in that horrible multi-storey. However, there's more just around the corner, and it's something quite amazing by Irony from 2018. I mean, how do you do a picture that lifelike with spray cans? It looks like a giant photo, and the detail is staggering. Even next to it, in this doorway, is a small piece of artwork in the form of an angel. It's just everywhere you look. Okay, so let's ride to the other end of town, in Cleveland Street. This is a very popular swooping kingfisher by Brazilian artist L7 Matrix. And then on the same street there's a fairly small piece of artwork, which is a picture of a man who's thinking so hard that his head started to shatter. Next to it is a much bigger picture, a mural by N4T4 and Filth, of faces looking back at me, and even taking pictures of me taking pictures of them. Okay, let's move along to a place called Hesters Way, and this is the home for a number of very large pieces of art. We saw one hidden away over on the right hand side there by Inky, and then further up is this huge mural of a rather exotic looking young lady, and it takes up pretty much the whole side of this house, 3 stories of it. It's by an artist called Dan Kitchener, or Dank as he's known, from 2018. Right, let's spin round and come back the other way. Oh, there's a Harley Davidson garage on my right hand side. I mean, come on Mark, resist the temptation to go in. You're not old enough and your hips are still intact. There's no need to go there yet. And as I come around the roundabout and head back the other way, here it is again, this time on the left hand side. No, I can't go in there, not at least until I can start cashing in a pension and I can afford to do so. So we're heading back along Hesters Way. This is the direction sort of away from town, and once again you can see these gigantic pieces of artwork on the left hand side, all of them brilliant in their own right. Now there's a particularly special one I like towards the end of this, and you can see some of these are just brilliant, but the one I really like we'll pull up and have a look at. This is a picture of a lady who stood sort of in the rain, and I just don't know why I like it, but you know what, when you like something you just like it, if you know what I mean. Now this one, I have to say though, really needs to be seen in real life. Well, until I started doing this video, I had no idea that this car park in the centre of town was home to such an amount of artwork. There's a couple of boards here featuring work from Andy Dice Davis, such as that picture there of his fellow artist Peaches, and then there's one by My Dog Size as well. And then if you turn around you realise that there's just this very long wall full of loads more top quality street art, all different styles, and it goes on forever. I mean, just take a moment to look at this lot. I've got to say, every time I watch this clip back I see something different. It's genuinely impressive, and I don't think anybody's had this much fun in a car park since George Michael was in his Range Rover with a careless whisper. Now the Bays Hill pub in the middle of Cheltenham has a number of pieces. I always smile when I see this place because my wife worked here and got sacked for punching the chef. Now if she hadn't done that she wouldn't have moved on and I might never have met her. Funny how things work out. Anyway, at the back of the pub is another piece of work by Snick, and around the corner is one of the biggest pieces I've found, which is an archer by American street artist Bo Stanton. Once again, I'm not sure the camera really does it justice, and I think really you need to come to the Bays Hill, have a pint and stand in the car park and look at this one. Then, in contrast, just off to the side of this is a very subtle but excellent Imperial Walker from Star Wars, created by Pad 303, which has been drawn as bricks within brickwork, and there are actually a number of pieces by him around the town in this same sort of style. Now, I can't really get my head round it, but I do love it. Next to that, there's this kind of rubbish picture of a horse. But the brilliant thing is that there's a girl painting it who is made of tiles, like that dinosaur was from earlier. Right, let's go off to our local train station, Cheltenham Spa, named after the spa water we talked about earlier. And opposite is a portrait done by an artist called Koione, with very interesting hair. Now again, I don't really get it, but I do love riding past and appreciating the talent that went into making her. So the train station itself has a car park, which yet again is a car park full of artwork. And there's a wall of art here too. I particularly like the train tickets with pictures in them. I mean, British Rail ought to be doing that for real, not that I've actually been on a train for quite some time. But anyway, just as I ride off, I realised that I'd ridden straight past this enormous wild drawing 3D art that I'm not sure I've ever seen, despite riding past it many times. But let's get back into town as we near the end of our journey, and now we're in the St Paul's area, as you can see by this mural by Inky, and then moving down the road to a floral pattern on this lucky person's house. I always wonder if they've asked for it or whether it just turned up there. And finally, let's go to the back of the brewery for a bit more floral decoration, along with this most excellent picture of Hamlet by Zabu from 2019. Anyway, as I ride out through Montpellier, I'm struck by just how many works of art there are around Cheltenham. I had no idea there were so many, and I haven't even scratched the surface or started on places that you have to walk to, like the Honeybourne line. Honestly, seeing all this artwork is like catching Pokemon. Look, I'm clearly no art critic, but I've been to places like the Tate Modern and I've looked at some of the artwork there and just thought, what on earth is that all about? And I don't get it on any level whatsoever, and most of it I could probably recreate myself. But this stuff is just another level as far as I'm concerned, and it really does float my boat. So I'd be genuinely interested to know what you guys think about it too. take a look at Cheltenham Paint Festival websites or Google Andy Dice Davis for more information. And if you're anywhere near Gloucestershire, why not have a ride around Cheltenham and spot some of this mind-blowingly incredible pieces of art? Right then, back to more motorbike shenanigans next time, and until then, keep your chains oiled and I'll see you all real soon.